Beloved, today we are going to speak of a truth that the world often hides from those who feel powerless. You can build leverage, even when you feel you have nothing. Do not mistake the word nothing for weakness. Nothing is merely the blank canvas upon which the divine can paint your abundance. When you feel empty, you are in fact perfectly positioned to receive. The universe does not require you to bring wealth, connections, or influence. It only asks for faith, focus, and the courage to act. First, understand that leverage is not about money, it is about energy. Energy flows where attention goes. If you give your energy to complaints, to envy, or to fear, you are giving leverage to forces that keep you small. But when you redirect your attention to your imagination, your words, and your clear vision of what you desire, you begin to accumulate invisible power. This invisible power is your true capital. It is more valuable than gold because it multiplies when applied wisely. Consider the seed. It seems so small, yet within it lies the tree, the fruit, and the shade for generations. Your ideas and your faith are seeds. Plant them, water them with action, and allow them to grow. Next, recognize the law of opportunity. No one starts with everything. Everyone begins somewhere. The clever soul knows that leverage comes from seeing what others do not see. A person with nothing can still observe, learn, and act faster than those weighed down by possessions and preconceptions. Your eyes, your ears, and your mind are instruments of leverage. Watch where doors are opening, even slightly. Speak the words that summon guidance and connection. Align yourself with people, circumstances, and energies that echo your purpose. The more attuned you are to this divine orchestration, the more leverage flows to you naturally, as if by a hidden hand guiding you forward. Do not underestimate the power of relationships. Even when you possess no wealth, you possess presence. Your presence, your sincerity, and your willingness to give value can attract allies who multiply your influence. Think of the humble apprentice who becomes master because they listen, learn, and serve. Serve with joy, and the universe will multiply your efforts 100-fold. One small act of service, one honest conversation, one correct choice in a critical moment can become the pivot upon which your entire future turns. Furthermore, cultivate the habit of resourcefulness. When one has nothing, ingenuity becomes your currency. Every challenge is a mirror reflecting hidden opportunities. Ask not, how can I do this with nothing? But rather, how can I use what is here right now to create something greater? Water, wind, and sunlight were free, yet they built mountains and nourished civilizations. So too can your mind, your hands, and your unwavering faith build leverage where no visible means exist. Remember, the smallest lever can move the heaviest weight if it is placed at the correct fulcrum. Your faith and your action are the fulcrum. And let us not forget the power of words. Words are not merely sounds, they are forces that shape reality. Speak your vision aloud. Speak of abundance, of growth, of the doors that are opening for you. Declare it as if it is already yours, for the law of divine mind listens to the declarations of the brave. When you speak from faith rather than fear, you summon resources, allies, and opportunities that were invisible before. Your words become your leverage, they carry energy that bends circumstances in your favor. Finally, trust the invisible currents. Leverage grows not only from visible action, but from invisible alignment. The universe conspires with the bold, the faithful, and the persistent. Do not despair if progress seems slow. Often, the most powerful leverage is invisible, working quietly beneath the surface, arranging the circumstances, teaching the lessons, and preparing the openings for your leap. Patience is not inaction, it is faith in the process. Keep planting seeds, keep speaking your truth, keep observing opportunities, and keep giving your highest energy to your highest vision. Even when you have nothing, you have the invisible tools that matter most: your mind, your vision, your words, your integrity, and your persistence. These are the levers that move mountains, the wings that lift you above limitation, and the unseen wealth that multiplies into tangible results. True leverage comes from invisible assets: your mind, your faith, your words, and your presence. Many believe that leverage is only available to those with money, connections, or status, but this is a mistaken notion created by the world of appearances. The real leverage, the kind that moves mountains and opens doors that seem forever closed, is invisible, intangible, and eternal. It resides in the mental and spiritual realm, where the power of thought, intention, and declaration can shape circumstances far beyond what the eye can see. The mind is the first and most important asset, for everything visible begins with a thought. The seed of every success, every opportunity, every innovation exists first as an idea. When you cultivate your mind with clarity, focus, and the vision of your desired outcome, you are planting the invisible levers that will lift you into higher realms of achievement. Thoughts directed with purpose are like arrows aimed at a target. They pierce through confusion, doubt, and limitation. A mind focused on limitation attracts more limitation, while a mind focused on possibility gathers unseen forces to its aid. Faith is the invisible wind that carries these arrows further than any physical effort could reach. Faith is not merely belief, it is the confident expectation of good, the recognition that the universal law responds to the inner conviction of the heart and mind. When your faith is strong, you are aligning yourself with the currents of infinite power, the unseen energy that governs opportunity, fortune, and circumstance. Faith transforms your invisible assets into a force that moves people, situations, and even time itself. It is the magnet that draws resources to you, the invisible engine that powers every step you take. Words are equally powerful as leverage. Every word you speak carries an energy that either constructs or destroys. Words spoken in faith, in alignment with your vision, summon forces beyond your comprehension. They are the vibration of your inner reality expressed outwardly, and they have the capacity to shape events, inspire action, and open doors where walls once stood. When you declare your vision, when you speak of abundance, success, and opportunity as if they are already present, you are creating invisible momentum. The universe hears these words and moves to fulfill them, because the law responds to the vibration of thought and speech. Conversely, words of doubt, fear, or complaint feed the invisible forces of limitation, creating barriers that are often mistaken for insurmountable obstacles. The careful, conscious use of words is a key to leverage that no money, title, or resource can replace. Even when you have nothing, your words can shift reception, influence others, and generate opportunities that appear as miracles. Presence is another invisible asset of immense power. Presence is the energy you carry into every interaction, the alignment of your mind, spirit, and intention that others sense whether consciously or unconsciously. A person who exudes calm confidence, clarity, and faith draws attention, respect, and cooperation. Presence is not arrogance, it is a quiet authority, a reflection of inner mastery that compels alignment from people and circumstances. When you understand that presence itself is a form of leverage, you recognize that even without wealth or influence, you can command outcomes by the very way you carry yourself. Every glance, every gesture, every tone carries weight when it is rooted in inner power. The invisible energy of presence opens doors that remain closed to those who rely solely on external assets. When these invisible assets, mind, faith, words, and presence, are cultivated, they multiply one another. A focused mind strengthens faith. Faith energizes words. Words reinforce presence. Presence amplifies the impact of thought. This multiplication of invisible forces is what creates leverage. The person who understands this principle is never truly without power. Even in apparent lack, they are accumulating the forces that bring results far beyond what the world can measure. One must remember that visible achievements are only the shadow of invisible power. Wealth, recognition, opportunity, and success are reflections of inner alignment, the visible evidence of invisible assets in action. Those who have money but lack focus, faith, clear speech, or presence are often powerless in true leverage, while the person with nothing but these invisible assets can accomplish what seems impossible to the eyes. It is essential to recognize that invisible assets are not dependent on external validation. No one can take your thoughts, faith, or presence from you unless you allow it. They are sovereign, internal treasures that remain with you in all circumstances. When the outer world appears barren, these assets become the foundation of renewal and growth. Even the humblest mind, when aligned with the universal law and directed with clarity, becomes a lever of enormous influence. Every challenge, every limitation, every experience of lack becomes an opportunity to exercise these invisible assets, to strengthen them, and to bring them into harmonious action. Life will present tests that appear to expose weakness, but these are merely invitations to recognize and deploy the power that lies within. Let us consider the power of thought more closely, for it is the cornerstone of leverage. The mind is like a garden. What you cultivate grows, and what you neglect withers. Thoughts of scarcity, fear, or limitation feed the soil of struggle and delay, producing more of the same. Thoughts of abundance, clarity, and possibility plant seeds that sprout into circumstances that support growth and expansion. Focused, disciplined thinking is a form of leverage that transcends time and space. Even without money, status, or tools, a mind fully engaged in creative, constructive thought has the capacity to manifest results, attract allies, and uncover resources that were invisible before. Faith magnifies this effect by giving the mind confidence that the unseen forces of the universe are working on your behalf. When faith and thought are combined, they become an invisible lever that moves mountains, bridges gaps, and manifests opportunities. Words, spoken with intention, are another amplifier of invisible power. The person who habitually speaks fear, doubt, or limitation unknowingly feeds the law of lack. But the person who declares their vision boldly, who affirms abundance, who names opportunity and prosperity as already present, invokes the law of manifestation. Words are not merely labels, they are energetic expressions of thought. They resonate through the unseen realms and act as signals to circumstances, attracting conditions that mirror the vibration they carry. By speaking deliberately and positively, even those who have nothing can begin to influence outcomes, draw allies, and create the conditions necessary for growth. Words, like seeds, have the potential to germinate and produce far beyond their apparent size. Presence, the subtle yet undeniable energy one carries, completes the circle of invisible assets. Presence is sensed intuitively by others and acts as a silent yet persuasive lever in human interaction. People respond to those who exhibit calm confidence, clarity of purpose, and faith in unseen support. Presence does not depend on attire, status, or external wealth. It depends on alignment with inner power. Even without material possessions, a person with strong presence commands attention, gains trust, and opens doors that remain closed to those who rely solely on external appearances. Presence magnifies the effect of thought, faith, and words, creating a holistic field of leverage that moves the world around you without visible force. When these invisible assets are combined and applied consistently, they create a system of leverage that multiplies outcomes exponentially. A single idea, supported by faith, spoken into the world and carried with presence, can catalyze results that appear miraculous to observers. The more you cultivate your mind, strengthen your faith, choose your words with care, and maintain your presence, the greater the momentum of your invisible power. Even in the absence of tangible resources, this combination allows you to create conditions for success, attract support, and move toward your goals with a certainty that surpasses ordinary understanding. Resourcefulness and observation turn nothing into opportunity. Small actions create exponential results. Many people look at a lack of money, connections, or resources and see only limitation, but the wise soul sees an invitation. When you have nothing, you are in the perfect position to develop resourcefulness, for it is precisely in the absence of external support that ingenuity awakens. Resourcefulness is the art of using what is at hand, of seeing possibilities that others overlook, and of transforming ordinary circumstances into extraordinary opportunities. The world often misleads us into thinking that only those with wealth or influence can create leverage, yet history shows that the most profound achievements are often born from apparent lack. Every great inventor, entrepreneur, and visionary began with nothing but a mind willing to see what others could not see and hands willing to act on it. Observation is the companion of resourcefulness. To observe is to recognize what the world offers and to perceive the hidden openings in every situation. While many see obstacles, the resourceful soul sees pivots, angles, and opportunities that multiply effort far beyond what the eye initially perceives. A small shift in perception can change a blocked path into a doorway of opportunity. Learning to observe carefully, to notice the subtle patterns of human behavior, circumstance, and timing, is a discipline that transforms apparent lack into fertile ground for leverage. Every challenge contains within it a hidden opportunity. What appears as limitation is, in reality, a lesson that teaches you to act wisely, to stretch your mind, and to discover tools you did not realize you possessed. A person who learns to see opportunity where others see failure acquires a form of leverage that no money can buy. Even the humblest resources, when used with imagination and courage, can produce results far beyond what seems reasonable. Resourcefulness requires a willingness to act with what is present, to improvise, and to turn ordinary materials, relationships, and knowledge into instruments of progress. It is the application of wisdom and creativity in real time, trusting that every circumstance can yield more than its appearance suggests. Observation allows you to recognize the patterns of cause and effect, to understand the subtleties of timing, and to anticipate the next step in a chain of events. When you couple observation with resourcefulness, you discover that even the smallest action can create exponential results. A single decision, executed with clarity and imagination, can ripple outward, influencing multiple circumstances, drawing people and resources to your side, and accelerating the manifestation of your desires. Many fail to recognize the power of small actions because they are distracted by the illusion that only grand gestures matter. The truth is that small, consistent, thoughtful actions compound over time, just as a tiny stream carves a canyon through persistent flow. When you focus on what can be done today with what you have, you establish momentum. Momentum is invisible yet enormously powerful. It multiplies your resourcefulness and makes previously impossible tasks achievable. By taking small, deliberate steps, you demonstrate to yourself and the universe that you are ready to receive and to act upon opportunity. These steps, though small in appearance, are like levers that amplify the energy of your faith, observation, and imagination. One carefully chosen action, executed with intent, often leads to unforeseen openings, partnerships, and circumstances that appear as miracles but are, in reality, the natural consequence of alignment and application of invisible principles. Observation teaches you to see not only what is present, but also what is absent. It allows you to perceive gaps in the market, needs in the community, or unspoken desires in human behavior. These gaps are fertile ground for the resourceful mind. While others complain about what they lack, the person who observes with clarity recognizes where their unique contribution can fill a need, create value, and attract opportunity. When you act on these insights, you begin to leverage not only your own energy but also the energy of others, for people are drawn to solutions, ideas, and creativity that meet real needs. Resourcefulness, when combined with keen observation, becomes an invisible multiplier, producing results far beyond what any single effort could accomplish alone. Faith is the silent partner of resourcefulness. The person who is resourceful but lacks belief in their own ability or in the benevolence of the universe will often falter or hesitate. Faith provides courage, clarity, and persistence. It allows you to act even when the outcome is uncertain, trusting that every small action you take is planting seeds that will bear fruit in their appointed season. Faith amplifies the effect of observation and ingenuity, transforming ordinary effort into a lever for extraordinary results. When you act with faith, you are not limited by the current appearance of lack. You are guided by the invisible laws of supply, opportunity, and timing that govern the unseen world. Flexibility is also essential. Resourcefulness requires adaptability, the ability to adjust plans, methods, and expectations as new information and opportunities present themselves. Rigidity is the enemy of leverage because it blinds the mind to possibilities and keeps energy tied to one path. Observation allows you to recognize when a shift is necessary, and resourcefulness enables you to implement that shift creatively. The person who combines flexibility with careful observation and faithful action can turn even apparent defeat into advantage, converting obstacles into stepping stones and scarcity into abundance. Small actions, guided by observation and amplified by resourcefulness, create a chain reaction. One idea acted upon leads to another. One connection forged opens the way for multiple alliances. One act of courage attracts further opportunity. The exponential effect of small actions is invisible at first, often unrecognized by those who focus only on immediate results. Yet over time it accumulates, producing outcomes far beyond expectation. The wise soul is patient in this process, understanding that the power of small, consistent action multiplies when it is applied with intelligence, faith, and alignment with universal law. Innovation often springs from necessity. When resources are lacking, the mind is forced to think in ways it might never consider if abundance were present. Constraints sharpen the imagination, compel clever solutions, and cultivate skills that would remain dormant in comfort. By observing carefully, acting boldly, and applying resourcefulness, you transform limitations into leverage. Every challenge becomes a laboratory for creativity, every lack a prompt for ingenuity, and every small action a seed of exponential growth. Even relationships and networks can be leveraged with resourcefulness and observation. When you engage sincerely with others, offering value, insight, or assistance, you create bonds that multiply your influence and open doors to opportunities you could not achieve alone. Observation helps you recognize who is aligned with your vision, who is ready to support, and who can be inspired to act. Resourcefulness allows you to act in ways that create mutual benefit, turning even simple interactions into stepping stones toward larger results. The unseen principle is that leverage grows geometrically from small, deliberate acts. One act of observation, one creative application of what is at hand, one small demonstration of skill, courage, or service can unfold into networks, opportunities, and resources that seem far greater than the effort invested. This is the invisible arithmetic of the universe, where small actions applied wisely produce outcomes that multiply endlessly, often beyond the scope of human expectation. The key, therefore, is to remain vigilant, present, and engaged. Do not wait for conditions to be perfect or for resources to appear. Act with what is at hand. Watch carefully, learn, and apply your ingenuity to the circumstances before you. Small, consistent, intelligent actions, guided by observation and faith, become invisible levers that magnify influence, attract opportunity, and convert apparent lack into genuine abundance. Align with the invisible currents of the universe. Serve, speak your vision, and trust the unseen forces that multiply your efforts. Many people live as though the world is a collection of random events, believing that success is only a product of luck, skill, or effort. Yet the wise soul understands that there is an invisible order to all things, a divine current that moves in perfect harmony with those who align themselves with it. To leverage the unseen forces, one must first cultivate a consciousness that is attuned to the subtle patterns of life, learning to sense the opportunities, relationships, and moments that appear as though by chance but are in fact orchestrated by the law of divine intelligence. The universe is constantly responding to your thoughts, words, and actions, arranging circumstances, people, and events in perfect sequence to support your alignment with your highest good. Serving others is one of the most powerful ways to align with this current, for when you contribute value without expectation of return, you become a channel through which abundance flows. Service is not merely a moral act, it is a principle of leverage, an invisible currency that attracts goodwill, opens doors, and multiplies results in ways that cannot be measured by the ordinary mind. The energy you give in service returns multiplied, often in forms that surpass any calculation or expectation, turning simple acts of kindness or assistance into powerful levers of influence and opportunity. Speaking your vision is equally vital in harnessing the invisible currents. Words are not merely expressions of thought, they are carriers of energy that interact with the universal law. When you declare what you desire with clarity, confidence, and faith, you are sending a signal into the unseen realms that your intention is ready to manifest. This signal mobilizes forces beyond the physical, attracting circumstances, ideas, and people that correspond to the vibration of your words. Those who fail to speak their vision often find that opportunities pass unnoticed or unclaimed, while those who affirm their purpose boldly draw the currents of the universe to their side. The act of verbalizing your vision is not a matter of ego or pretense, it is an alignment with a higher intelligence that recognizes readiness and responds with acceleration. To speak your vision is to plant a seed in the fertile soil of the unseen, knowing that the law of cause and effect will produce a harvest in perfect timing. Trust in unseen forces is the final, essential component of alignment. The world often tempts one to rely solely on visible evidence, yet the most potent leverage comes from believing in what cannot yet be seen. Faith in the unseen is not blind, it is a recognition of the order, intelligence, and benevolence inherent in the universe. The forces at work beyond perception are constantly arranging circumstances, opening paths and guiding steps in harmony with your highest vision. But lie those who trust can receive the benefit. Doubt clouds perception, blocks opportunity, and slows the flow of unseen assistance, while trust clears the channels, allowing the currents to move freely and bring support in forms that are often unexpected. Those who trust are like sailors who read the invisible winds. They move swiftly and safely, while those who ignore the current struggle and exhaust themselves against forces they do not understand. Observation is critical in this process, for the currents of the universe are subtle and often hidden from the untrained eye. Signs, coincidences, sudden ideas, and intuitive nudges are all expressions of these unseen forces at work. To align with them, one must pay attention, interpret wisely, and act promptly. A single inspired action, taken in alignment with an unseen prompt, can unlock doors, attract allies, and multiply results far beyond what effort alone could achieve. Those who ignore these signs remain trapped in struggle, believing that success is only a product of visible effort, while those who observe and respond ride the wave of invisible support effortlessly. Faith, words, service, and observation work together as a holistic system. Service opens channels, words declare intent, observation reveals opportunity, and trust allows the currents to operate unhindered. This combination multiplies efforts exponentially, creating leverage that no external wealth, position, or resource could match, even when one has nothing. These invisible forces are available, accessible, and powerful, waiting only for alignment with intention, action, and awareness. Every person possesses the ability to connect with these currents, to harness the unseen power that governs success, influence, and opportunity. The key is conscious participation, not passive hope. Alignment requires action, for the universe responds to readiness demonstrated through deeds as well as faith. The law of giving and receiving is central to this principle. When you serve, contribute, and act from a place of generosity, you are setting in motion a law of reciprocity that multiplies invisible leverage. The more value you give, the more the universe returns, often in ways that are beyond your imagination. This is not a matter of exchange or transactional thinking. It is a law of abundance inherent in the structure of reality. Even without material means, one can give thought, encouragement, insight, guidance, and effort, and these contributions summon forces that multiply results beyond calculation. Generosity, sincerity, and usefulness are invisible levers that transform limitation into opportunity. Speaking your vision consistently aligns your internal state with the external currents. It clarifies your intention, strengthens faith, and sets the vibration for manifestation. Repetition of vision in words, affirmations, and declarations ensures that your energy is coherent, focused, and recognizable to the universal law. Every word becomes a call to action for the unseen forces, guiding circumstances, people, and events into alignment with your desires. The spoken word, infused with belief, is a tool of leverage that magnifies every effort, making what seems impossible possible and what seems distant near. Observation ensures that you act in harmony with these currents. Unseen support often comes in forms that are subtle, indirect, or unexpected. To capitalize on these forces, one must notice patterns, respond to intuitive prompts, and seize opportunities as they arise. Those who fail to observe the signs remain unaware of the invisible assistance that is continuously available, while those who are attentive can ride the waves of support with ease. Observation refines action, ensuring that each effort aligns with the flow of energy, making small actions powerful and compounding them into extraordinary results. Trust allows all these elements to function together without interference. Doubt, fear, and impatience create resistance, slowing or blocking the flow of unseen support. Trust, on the other hand, relaxes the mind, aligns the heart, and clears the path for currents to move freely. It allows service, words, observation, and action to combine into a coherent system that produces leverage far beyond ordinary expectation. Those who trust do not force outcomes, they act in alignment with principle, knowing that the unseen law will respond to readiness, clarity, and intent. Even when tangible resources are absent, alignment with these invisible currents creates leverage that opens doors, attracts allies, and multiplies results. Small acts of service, clear declarations of vision, careful observation, and unwavering trust interact to form a field of invisible power that influences circumstances far beyond the individual effort invested. This is the principle by which people with nothing achieve results that appear miraculous to the outside world. They are not operating by chance or luck. They are using leverage that is invisible, spiritual, and eternal, harnessed through alignment, faith, and conscious participation. The practice of alignment is ongoing and dynamic. Each day presents opportunities to serve, to speak vision, to observe, and to trust. By engaging consistently in this practice, one strengthens the connection to the unseen currents, enhances the ability to recognize and act on opportunities, and multiplies the effect of every effort. Even in moments of apparent lack, alignment ensures that energy, support, and opportunity are working in favor of those who participate consciously. This principle transcends the limitations of circumstance, creating leverage that cannot be diminished by external conditions, and ensuring that even the humblest actions, when aligned, produce results far beyond expectation.